Wendy Martinez, or Wendy Martinez Soriano. I didn't include the name Soriano in the banner, but that is apparently your full name, seeing what you said on Skype. I spoke to you at Sue Greenwald's conference down in Orlando, Florida. That's where I first met you, the one in January, and it's great to have you as a guest on my show. We had some nice, interesting work done on each other when we did one of the workshops during Sue's conference. And it's great to be having you as a guest on the program. And I don't want to jinx anyone or anything, but my last radio guest, not going to name any names, first time ever appearing on a radio program, didn't really like what she heard after I sent her a copy of the interview, and she asked, please don't put this on the air. I don't really sound too good. I mean, if this is your first time on the radio, please don't worry if you have a few butterflies in your stomach. Everything will be all right. And we may be in a Mercury retrograde, but we just have to work through it. And I myself, I will admit, I may not necessarily be at the top of my radio game right now, just like I was with the last interview that the guest decided to cancel. Maybe this factored into it because my 89-year-old grandmother is, for all intents and purposes, a vegetable now, had a stroke that's kind of lobotomized her, but she's still alive, and I can't stop worrying about her and thinking about her, and, well, that may be hanging over my head, but I want to work through it, and even if my mother were to pass away today, I'd still do this radio show, even if I'm not on the top of my game, so just bear with me as I work through this. If this is your first interview, well, kudos to you for finally Is this your first time, by the way, on the radio?
No, it's not. No, well, in this type of radio, yes, but not the first time.
Okay, well, that being said, you've got the floor to tell your life story, who you are, what you discovered that caused you to do the stuff that you do, maybe also what made you decide to go to Sue Greenwald's conference. What was it about that conference that you saw that was so special? I got my reasons and all, and it was not the reason that some people may have suspected. That's a long story. Maybe I'll tell you what that's about later for the sake of making this a worthwhile and interesting interview. But you know what I was about.
Yes.
You know what that's all about, by the way? Did I tell you, or did I not tell you?
No.
Okay.
No, I would love to know.
All right, but this is about you, not about me, because you're the guest, and it's time for you to have glory, not me. So you got the floor. Who are you? Your life story. Please be the best primary source you could be. I will not interrupt you. I'll put myself on mute. You got the floor.
Thank you so much, Andrew. And first of all, I would like to express my most deepest love, gratitude, and appreciation for the honor and the opportunity to co create this very moment with you and with your audience. Second of all, I will want to express and let you all know the feelings of excitement and joy that this co-creation is producing right now in my heart and in my soul. And my name, like you said, is Wendy Martinez Soriano. And and I would like to, before we go into any topic or subject of this interview, I would like to start with a grounding meditation that we have learned with Brad Johnson of the New Earth Teaching Academy.
Okay, I said I wouldn't
Which,
interrupt you, but since you're gonna do this, this this isn't live. This is a pre-record, so nobody's actually listening to this. But that of course, everybody who will be listening to this can turn back to this anytime and listen to the interview because, well, time is an illusion. We're all one, so I will make sure that when I put in the description the exact minute time where this meditation is. So just want to get that out there. And now this meditation, well, let's get started with it. Thank you very much for starting us on this interview off on such a peaceful note. I'll be joining. I'll
yeah,
be doing it too.
absolutely, absolutely. So this grounding meditation, like I said, it was taught by Brad Johnson in the Spirit Ambassador class. We normally start with a meditation, and this one, it helps us to prepare ourselves to receive any cosmic light and knowledge. And this meditation could be done either sitting or standing in any position, laying down if you are. So just find a comfortable position right now, and let's take a deep breath in and out. Deep breath in and out. And another deep breath in and out. now we could close our eyes and imagine that feather roots are coming out from our feet and connected to the earth, going down and down deep the earth and connecting to the brown energy of the earth. And now that brown energy of the earth are coming up and connecting to our feet, connecting and going up to our legs, coming up to our knees and thighs. And now this brown energy start connecting and going around our root chakra, the red color band, going up and around to our sacral chakra, the orange color band, going up and around the solar plexus chakra, the yellow color band. Continue going up and around to our heart chakra, the color green. Up and around this brown energy of the earth, connecting and going around our throat chakra, the color aquamarine. Continue going up and around and connected to our third eye chakra, the color deep ocean blue. Going up and around and touching our crown chakra, the violet color spectrum. Now let's take another deep breath in and out. And now imagine that the crown chakra is opening up and cascading over our body a rainbow of light, like a shower down, all over down to our feet. And then connecting, going back up and connecting to our perineum between our genitals. And going up again to the crown chakra and forming this toroidal field energy. Now we see this toroidal field energy moving, rotating very slowly, counterclockwise. And take another the breath in and out. And look open our eyes, and now we are ready to receive cosmic light and knowledge. This is a good way to start, including your date or any special activity or energy work. For the energy workers, it's a very good meditation. And it could be done, like I said, in any position, sitting down, standing up, or laying down. So I hope you enjoy that and you can repeat it as many times you want to use it in your practice. So now we could talk about a little bit about my story. And like I mentioned to Andrew before, I would like to title this interview "The Awakening," because my story is the journey of my awakening. And starting from, I was very little. I always was very connected to nature, and always like to be in nature and with the tree. Especially the trees are very special to me. And another thing is the synchronicities. Since I was very little, I always have these synchronicities, which it have shaped actually my journey. One thing, one synchronicity at a time will put me into the next level, or into the next part of the journey. And since I was 3 years old, I started talking to my higher self, which I learned after that it was my higher self. And I used to call it angel until I learned that it was my higher self. And it was my companion, and he always was guiding me and advising me since I was 3 years old. Also, having visions and dreams. There was a part of my life that for a whole year I was receiving a dream the previous day of everything that it was going to happen to me, of happened the following day. That was very interesting here, and I did enjoy that. Um, and regarding the channeling, um, I was not exposed. I didn't know that what I was doing with the higher self, it was channeling. I learned that way more recently. Um, I didn't know the knowledge of that that was called channeling. Um, I would say I would never was completely asleep since we're talking about awakening, because since very early age, I had this feeling that I wasn't from here. Later on, I found out that I was. It's called star seed, um, and I was. The thing is that when I was at home, at my physical home, I would still say, "I want to go home. I want to go home," and was like missing home. I couldn't understand why I was feeling that way, or why it would come out of my mouth that I want to go back home. And when I was 12 years old, it was very strong, that feeling. And but when I was at service of doing helping someone, that that missing or that I was missing home, or that I wanted it to go back where I came from, um, it succeeded. So then I came to the realization when I was 12 years old that I came to this planet for a purpose, with a purpose of serving others, serve the humanity. And my life after that uh, starts shifting in a direction of this evolution, spiritual evolution. And like I said, by synchronicity, I was exposed um, to become a massage therapist, and it was relevant in my life and in the shift of my journey, because by becoming a massage therapist, that was my first exposure, I would say, as a energy worker. And when I was in the public clinic doing my internship, I started developing this ability of censoring colors associated with a specific kind. And like I will pick up in our clinic, it was the sheets of the massage tables. It was colored, different colors instead of just the white or just the blue. It was different colors. And for some reason, when I was assigned to a client, even if I had to see the client or not, it was like the color was calling out to me. And then when I was in the session with the client, uh, it was something related to that person. Either it was his favorite color, or they just painted the room or the house to that color. And it started like that. And then I started receiving more detailed information, downloads from the quantum field. But at this point, I did not know really about the quantum field, and so on. So, but intuitively, since I was little, I was exposed to receiving information. And there was a point of my life that I was receiving so much that I kind of block it, because especially when I was receiving information about people that I knew close, or friends or family, and sometimes it was not pleasant information, and it was very hard, especially when I was younger. So at the public clinic, like I said, I started receiving again the downloads of the quantum field, or people call them downloads from the Akashic Records. Um, and then I started paying more attention to this energy work and so on. Then eventually, of course, after graduating, I opened my wellness center, the Quantum Integrative Wellness Center, which it was based, the quantum. Then when I took the holistic ideology class, and I graduated in 2012 with Dr. David Pesek, he was actually the first one who mentioned to me in the class in the level one about the quantum physics and the quantum experiment about the how consciousness and the awareness of the observation, it could change or it could influence the matter. And I was very interested when he was talking about that, and so I started doing search about it. That's how I started then getting into more the quantum and all that, and integrative, because I, with the therapy that I developed, which is the quantum integrative therapy, I combined the different modalities and protocols that I've had learned in the energy work, and when I am with the client that is going to take the session, I receive the downloads of the quantum, and we create the therapy according to the highest good that the person, that that client needs in that specific moment. So it is customized. So that was very interesting when I started in the public clinic, and then I was able to make more more adjustment and improving and developing more the technique and the skill. Um, Now, how did I get into the knowledge of the channeling and all that? I back in the days I used to use the YouTube for just for listening to music and see videos for music. I love music. I'm a musician. I play piano, classical, and so I started listening and seeing the videos. And one day there was, for some reason, there was a video about raising the vibration, which I know that this system has like allegories that match you search, and then it throws to you something related to what you search. So I didn't search nothing that it would throw back to my suggestion videos, but I click on it since anyway I work with the chakras, alignment, and stuff like that. But I didn't have no videos regarding or watched any video regarding chakra alignment or something like that. So I click into it and to listen, and it was very pleasant, and it helped me out. And I think that kind of brings some kind of activation for me. And the following was a video or a meditation from Abraham Hicks, which I didn't know who Abraham Hicks was. And I clicked on it. It was a morning meditation, but it was in the afternoon, but something for actually, I kind of clicked by mistake. I was going to select another of the raising vibration, but for some reason that one was there, and I clicked it, and I started listening, and I didn't stop it. It grabbed my attention, the way, the sound, the energy that it was transmitting. And since then, I think it was like I said, it was like a opening more my consciousness, like it was a point of activation. And then I came across, but I was curious, like, but how come it said it's Abraham, but it's, I hear the voice of the women that grabbed my attention, and then I start searching because I'm very curious, and I start searching about this Abraham Hicks, and then I learned, that it was a channeling, and then I start learning about what was that about the channeling, and so on. Then I came across the material of Dolores Canon. No, before Dolores Canon, I came across to the material of the Lord of One, the raw material, precious, and then Dolores Canon, and then Alba Weinman. And then I became I took a seminar with Antonio Sangio and Alba Weinman, um, to become a introspective hypnotherapist. Then from there, but before that, I did took a another seminar with Dr. Jean On with the Arthurian healing method, um, and that was my exposure to actually ET material and be more in contact with extraterrestrial beings as the Arthurians. And in that class, we learn about, of course, energy healing, um, how to get quantum commands and bend metal spoon. I don't know if you remember the movie The Matrix, which everybody said is a documentary, a documentary. And there was one scene that the children they were bending spoon. So one part of the class or part of the different one of the class part of this seminar, it was called the the spoon of the bending spoon, which was what it actually grabbed my attention. Another synchronicity. And then I signed in and like, no way, no, this is possible. So I signed in for the class. It was in Pennsylvania, and I took the class. And yes, it is possible. And I have it in my wellness center. The different spoon and fork metal, hard metal that we were able to bend. It was very interesting, and it's a very nice technique that you could use. It could be used for many other applications. Um, and in that class also, then we learned something that it was shown by Sue in the conference here in January, in the conference we went, that we met, about splitting yourself and also the one of the spin, which is spinning quantum commands to manifest anything you want, and by creating a double version of you to send to assist for healing. That was another thing that we learned there. And we also learned about the how to create healing vortices and how to get downloads, um, abilities that will either from different dimensions, or from different lifetimes, past life or future life, which we all know that everything is happening now. Um, but for the sake of the listeners, um, uh, you could go to past life or future life and then get downloads of abilities that are relevant, uh, and information that it will help you with that it will unpack later on in the appropriate time. So it was very interesting weekend, and meeting in incredible people and light workers, energy workers. Then um, then after that, I started to I signed in with Gaia TV. I was exposed to and learning with different personality or speakers about the quantum field, like for example, Dr. Joe Dispenza, Greg Brandon, Dr. Bruce Lipton, Corey Goods, and so on. And in Gaia, then there was this synchronicity of this particular. It was an interview that it was an interview. The interview Rob uh, Gautier. He channels the beings additive and trap, very loving beings, and also then after that I was in contact with this the Moore show. In that show, he has it's like a series of I think it's called they call us channelers, and it was an interview with Rob Gautier and Brad Johnson. they were gonna do a simultaneous channeling with additive and Adronis, which Brad Johnson, he channels Adronis. And that's how I was in contact or learn about Brad Johnson work and the New Earth Teaching Academy. I love knowing more about the universe, how things works, and also about our galactic family, which in all these channelings, you heard and you listen and you learn about it, and knowing more about our human origins. But also for me, I knew in my heart that I was needing more in the orientation of helping myself, doing inner work, and to help others in their awakening of the human consciousness of their evolution. So, so I started like when I searched more about the work of Brad Johnson, and um, I was able to see and search about the New Earth teaching. This was like, this is what I was looking for. It's so full of knowledge and tools that it could help you with this evolution. So at this point, if you have any question before I continue with this topic of the awakening and the tools that we could use that it will help us in this process of evolution, you are more than welcome to ask any question at this point.
Thank you very much. Very interesting story there. And Brad Johnson is someone who I do frequently reference as a source on this show. Recently watched a documentary where some guy was actually saying that we need to start listening to the contactees more often. I've been criticized on this show a few times for referencing contactees a little too much, but I don't see them as an end all be all to the answer. I just say they have the key to answering a lot of unanswered questions for us. So I tell people, listen to what they say. If they say something that nobody's ever said anything about before, then, well, put what the ET contactee said in the back of your mind, and if some solid physical evidence comes up to back them up, then, well, apparently they're genuine contactee. If that's the way I see a way of trying to validate their work. And Brad Johnson seems very, very valid. There were a few things he said in that conference, though, that really caught me off guard, like his assertion that the Earth for, I think it was 90,000 years, has actually been a state of not moving forward in time. And that's what spirits told him. Well, I mean, the fact that we're actually seem to be moving into the future and acknowledge the time being is in
Yeah.
motion that means that wouldn't really make sense to us. But I don't know. Maybe I've never heard anyone else say that, so it was kind of really caught me off guard to hear him say that we're in like a stasis state for a little while here on Earth, and we have been for like 90,000 years. But okay, just don't want to take too much time digressing from your ability to talk on this show. But since I mentioned and you wanted to hear about it, the whole thing with Sue Greenwald and me going to her conference, I was actually kicked out of a previous conference of hers for doing nothing wrong. I went to the Empowered Light Holistic Expo in April 2019. I decided to go barefoot to that conference, even though it was in like a warehouse and center environment. Um, and I mean, it was a spiritual expo, it made perfect sense, but they ended up kicking me out right before the last presentation, even though I had been barefoot all day long that day and the day before. And the security guy insisted that, well, I was a safety hazard. I eventually found out from asking a few people to try to help me get reinstated back at the conference that was actually just a cover story to conceal the real reason they kicked me out, which was because several audience members and the speakers at that conference thought that my questions and interactions with the speakers, who actually wanted people to get interactive, so I didn't think I was doing anything wrong, they kind of did the same thing to me that David Icke has suffered. Like, because he talks about too many negative things, he gets banned or kicked out. Well, the same thing kind of happened to me. The people thought that the things I were talking about was making too many people uncomfortable, so they wanted to kick me out. So they used the excuse, well, you're a barefoot liability, so we're just going to use that as an excuse. And that really, well, Brad Johnson actually didn't even want me to attend his like 3-hour workshop at the conference in Florida at first, he was actually afraid that I was there to sabotage the whole thing. I came there with no intention of doing that. I actually wanted to go to that conference, well, because, well, I like the work of Brad Johnson, D'Souza, and Jason Quitt, and even Sue Greenwald too. And even though she
Yes,
kind
it
of,
was awesome. It
yeah,
was awesome.
she was go, but
Yeah.
Sue was kind of forced to go along to get along with the people who run that venue in near where I live in Oaks, Pennsylvania, who wanted to kick me out. Just to salvage her conference, but I shifted the blame on her, and I wanted to go to that conference to enjoy it, and also at the end tell her, Sue, I'm sorry I shifted the blame on you, and like complain and said it was Sue Greenwald's fault
Yeah.
that I got kicked out. No, it was the people at the
Yeah.
conference, and I do kind of not apologize for not acknowledging that you were going along to get along. So that's what happened there, and
Yeah.
Sue Greenwald even
But you
flashed.
know what?
All right, go ahead,
You
go
know
ahead.
what, Andrew? You
What?
know what, Andrew? Nothing happened for nothing. And that lead you to come to this other conference, which it was beautiful. You were accepted. You were loved. We actually worked together, and you took um, the workshop of the Spirit Ambassador. You were able to imbue your pendulum with spirit, which was wonderful, and you were able to help and do a healing actually on me, and I did on you. It was beautiful. I really enjoy our time together in that conference and how everything turned out for the good. Sometimes we see things negative, but all the energies, remember, all energies are necessary. The negative energy, the positive energies, and nothing get destroyed. Everything get transformed, like we learned in that seminar, in that workshop, that we take the negative energy and we ask the spirit to transform it to positive energy. And it is beautiful to work and see how negative things could put us in a positive path, which I think that really put you in a positive path. And you are so successful with your radio show. And I am so honored to be here. And I love all this good vibration that I'm feeling with you and with your audience and with this interview. So it is wonderful. And thank you for letting me know what happened. And now we could turn all the negative energy. And I'm gonna, if you allow me, I'm gonna ask Spirit to transform any negative energy remaining from that experience to positive energy. Let it be done now. Okay. I hope you felt the love.
Yes, I felt a lot of love with you saying that, and I think Sue and I kind of reconciled our differences because before you chimed in, I was going to say that I asked her, "Do you think maybe even though I've been officially banned for eternity from that expo center in Pennsylvania where you hold the Empowered Light Expo, do you think maybe you might consider letting me sneak into that conference that you're going to hold there in May wearing a disguise and using a fake name?" And she said, "I don't really feel comfortable with that idea. I'm sorry, but I would do it. Think it's best for you, Andrew, to just move on and find another conference to go to instead of mine and in Pennsylvania if you're not allowed there." And well, I think that probably is the best way. It sucks though because a lot of people, I have some friends and acquaintances who are vendors there and speakers too that I've had on the show too. So, but moving on, enough about me and digressing on this issue. It just, well, it makes for interesting radio conversation too to hear about these crazy things anyhow. But you did send me a nice little bio here. So this whole thing about becoming a certified spirit ambassador practitioner, Brad Johnson basically knighted you, dubbed you that title, I guess. Did he? He was the one whose class you took to become a certified spirit ambassador practitioner.
Well, when you go to when you attend the class, which is through you become a Patreon. That's how you get to the class. You sign in with the Patreon, and then you are part of the class, which is an online class, weekly, and there's certain qualifications that you have to attend to 10 live classes, do all your partnership exercise, and then after that, then you could he considered to give you the certification, which you purchase the certification online in his website, and then if you qualify for to become a practitioner, then he do an initiation and imbue the spirit light upon you. We normally use the pendulum, but after that you become a practitioner, we could either use or not use, or use both. With a pendulum or not with a pendulum, we could do the different commands for healing purposes. And so that's how you become a practitioner as a spirit ambassador. Now, the other, then after that, he was going to select three of his students to become a teacher apprentice. And like I mentioned to you, a couple of weeks ago, he announced it in the class that Diana Rowe and Patrick Wise and myself were selected to be the Spirit Ambassador Teacher's Apprentice. And exactly today, this is a very special day because Diane, she's in Canada, and she has the first class of a Spirit Ambassador for beginners, because what we are doing, we are covering because it's an ongoing class. It's so much knowledge. It's like never ending, but it's so rich in knowledge and more and more. And I really appreciate how Brad Johnson, he is giving us, sharing all this knowledge that he's been receiving for so many years through spirit, through Adronis, and he is giving and sharing his knowledge with us and to anyone that wants it. And so what we're doing is that since people could sign in at any time to be in the class, we always have beginners student. So what he created is this beginners class with the apprentice teachers, and we go over the basic, which is always good, including for the practitioners to go back. And then we throw like something unique about that method or that technique. Diane, she did a wonderful job. I learned actually something new of how to use the pendulum in a certain way. And so it's always interesting that the amount of a student that he will take is up to 200. Right now we are 72. So if anyone is interested in taking the Spirit Ambassador class, what is that class for? I will say, talking about the awakening and this journey that I've been sharing with you guys. One of the questions that I have is, what was all this knowledge that these beings coming from the different star system or other dimensions, these ETs that are channeling through humans, what all this information that they are giving us, what is for? I mean, yes, you want to know more about the galactic families, that yes, we are not alone in this universe. At this point, pretty much a good amount of people already realize that it is kind of impossible to be the only beings in the whole universe. Scientists and astrologers are finding more and more new planets, same as the Earth with the same conditions. So at this point, it's pretty obvious that we are not the only one, and all these emerge of beings of the stars of the universe coming in their consciousness and in the energy, using the channeling like Adronis and Treb, Additive, Abraham Hicks. So what is the purpose? It was my question in my journey and in my search. And and I said, this is when I search about the new Earth teaching, then I signed into the Patreon, and he was giving different tools and so on. But then he announced the Spirit Ambassador class. And when I saw the curriculum and everything that we were going to cover, I say, this is it. Me as a light worker, as an energy worker, I was like, this is what I've been looking for all my life. And what it's giving us for this transition of the awakening, in this evolution of the human consciousness, because the first thing we should ask now that we're talking about awakening, so many people here were about taking conferences of awakening here, awakening, cultural awakening, and this and that, but what are we had to awake for? Where or from? What is this awakening about? And I came to to the conclusion as I was um, more and more learning about all this. My conclusion is that what is the awakening? For me, is that we are not separated from each other. That's number one. That we are created by an intelligent source of energy, a loving and compassionate source, that we all are one, that we are part of that source energy or spirit, that be awakened is that we are loved by spirit, realizing that we are loved by the whole universe, by our galactic family, that we are not alone. That's part of the awakening. That the human race is the most wonderful and magnificent species in the entire universe. One of the channelers, crying of magnetic service, channeled by Dr. Lee Carroll. Wonderful. Actually, after that week of the Code of Awakening, I went to the event of crying. It was awesome. And the other thing is being awakened is to know that we are spiritual beings, realizing that we are not just the body, that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And that is to be awake, having all this knowledge, having all this awareness. And dear ones, you are all special. You are loved by the universe. You are not alone. We are not alone. This is the beauty of this. We got help. And our star mothers from the Pleiadians that planted the spiritual seed in the humans 200,000 years ago, as the scientist Greg Brandon is showing that the scientific community had come to the realization that the human, and I'm quoting here in a book, in his book, The Human Design by Greg Brandon, he documents there that a stunning discovery about our DNA, in particular the human chromosome number 2. This chromosome is responsible for our enlarged brain, our capacity for emotion, sympathetic, empathetic, compassion, and our memory and learning processes. What make the chromosome number 2 so mysterious is that it is relic of the ancient telomere to telomere function of two ancestral chromosomes. And the great Brandon tell us that the timing and the precision and result of this ancient DNA function suggests something beyond evolution as we know it. So in in the in all the information that we have received from our ancestors and the natives talking about these mothers coming from the Pleiadians, the seven sisters, 200,000 years ago. Now with this discovery, it's exactly the precisely like Greg is saying here, is so precise, exactly the change of the human to the 23 pairs of chromosomes of the DNA, and having this chromosome number two that before it was not in the beings here in the earth. It suggests that it was not just by a normal evolution that we are being taught in school. That's something, there was an intervention of something that happened 200,000 years ago. And that's the help that is coming for us in this time. What the Pleiadian mothers did at that time, since they landed here, according to the information we get from Cryon in his channeling, is that they place a time capsule in 24 locations in our planet. And those 24 locations, it has 12 nodes and 12 noons. And that those noons and nodes, it was going to be activated if humanity will pass the mark of 2012, which we did. And that's something of celebration. And the universe is celebrating that finally we didn't destroy ourselves. So we are in a mark of going forward to this human evolution of the consciousness, human evolution. We are in the point of round return, Andrew. So right now, passing this 2012, it has opened up, activate these time capsules that the Pleiadians place it here for us. And what are those for? To help us. And when they get activated, which by the way, the last pair of node and nodes were activated in December of 2019, last year. And now they all are activated. So that's why you are seeing, and many people will see, how more of this awakening, more of this information, you start getting more intuition, and start having memories of things that you start doing things that you just know how to do it, and especially including for the light workers, and they start developing new modalities that it helps better the others humans to heal themselves. You will see more awakening and more development of classes and seminars, like we've seen more openly, because back in the days, going to a conference talking about awakening codes and channeling, like what? But now, if you notice, the audience are more receptive to this kind of subject. It don't look at you like you weird. And this node and nuls, what they do with this activation is that they will provide us with relevant knowledge and information that will help us in our own evolution. And this is remarkable, that we are not alone. We got help, and we are in, like I said, since 2012, we are in the point of no return to go forward to the enlightenment or the divinity of the human in this corporeal body, because that's the magnificence of the human. The difference between humanity and the other beings is that as a corporeal physical beings, we are capable with the multidimensional DNA that we have, which, by the way, we have 24, but that 24 um, a part of the DNA is a multidimensional, Cryan explained. And we don't see it now. It have not been seen now because the time is not yet. And there's certain tools or equipment and technology that it will be needed, which they are in development currently now, but it will be revealed later on. And thereby, by the magnificence of our creation, Spirit created us such unique species by that we don't have to, like Abraham said, we don't have to um, become a non-physical when we pass away to be in the divine energy. By us, the human, that's what it makes us so special and different, is that in the corporeal, we could become the divine that we are, just as physical that we are. And the tools that we get in the Spirit Ambassador class is exactly that. It helps us to, I would say, to create a soul template. We learn that to expand our skills, since all this information and all these skills and knowledge is coming download to us, is getting activated in our DNA. These type of classes, this type of seminars and workshops, it help us as a tool to become the better version of the humanity. We learn how to develop our psychic abilities, astral, the astral travel, also how to work directly with spirit, because we have spirit guides and we have our higher self and other beings that help us. Yes, but we go directly. We learn and we become one more consciously because we are one. But we become one more consciously and start working in our daily basis with spirit for little things or big things. We start learning how to really manifest, to be in the summit of manifestation. All these techniques we learn, how to heal ourselves uh, with the different tools, how to balance our chakra, also how to clear the environment, your house, your office space, your cities. Imagine if everybody learned how to do this. Definitely, our world it will become a new world. So it is an amazing opportunity to anyone. There's no qualification that you need previously to know or be familiar with esoterics information or with energy work. No, anyone, and you could use it either if you want to do be a practitioner, or not be a practitioner. Just use it as something personal to bless, to give. To help healing yourself, your family, your friends, your community. So it is a blessing, really. I feel very blessed to be part of this community of the Spirit Ambassador Collective Consciousness, and I see forward the amazing job that as a group we could make a difference. It is a wonderful way to really help Gaia, because we transform negative energy to positive energy. We work with the nature, with the trees. You could get including one of the things that for me, because I got three businesses and so I need all the energy I can have. So we learned a technique which we did. You learn it too in the conference, uh, in the workshop, to get transfer the excess energy of nature, which you could use it from use a tree or a bush or a plant. You could including use a rock. I've been using the water, and I will end this with this testimony. In one of my in my work, um, one of the managers, he was having a very hard time, and he was very lacking of energy. So, and I have my wellness center, and I work with healing and energy and all that. So he asked me, Wendy, I feel so tired. Is there something you could do for me? And I'm like, well, if you allow me, I could transfer some excess energy from water to you. So he said yes, and so I took a glass of water, and I asked the water, the element, and I asked the spirit to please transfer the excess energy of the water to that person, to the manager. And after a few minutes, he was very energetic. But the most interesting thing was the next day he asked me, Wendy, what was that you did to me? I'm like, I'm expecting like to, okay, what happened? And he's like, I feel today, I feel after and at night, I was able to have a good sleep, even though I had an energy to get me through the day. I have a good sleep, and today I feel like if I was in the beach with so much energy of the sun and everything. What was that you did? So I explained to him, about the class and how we learned to do this, and I showed him how he could do it. And I told him, always be grateful, always ask for permission, and always ask for the excess energy. We never take the vitality energy from any of the different elements. So, and after, always be thankful. Thank the tree, or thanks the water, or whatever elements you use. And I would like to conclude before we end. And if you have any other question or comment, but at the end, I would like to have a very short meditation of love and gratitude to close our interview.
Well, before we do that meditation, I do want to ask about the last thing that you wrote in that little uh, thing that you wrote for me regarding the bio and all for you and the talking points. The controversial date giving of Brad Johnson of 2037, and he says, as a disclaimer, don't. I know it's bad to give dates and all, but this is what Spirit's telling me, so I'm telling you anyway. Take it or leave it if you want. But we've all been down this road before of people in the spirituality, metaphysics, and contactee fields giving dates for massive ascension of a monumental scale where we basically transform into large crystalline beings that can birth
Mhm.
butterflies and fart rainbows and whatever. And every time someone comes up with this, I'm not going to name names, but people know who I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah. Mhm.
It always ends in disaster, and you can't help but wonder. I mean, 2037. Brad Johnson was saying not that long ago that um, based on what Spirit's telling him, 2050 is the year that humanity will be at a high enough level of consciousness and a high enough level of being able to handle the truth that open ET contact, where the ETs say, "Yeah, we're
Mhm.
here. We've been here all along, and now you have no choice but to believe in us, because here we are, and we're showing you." That can't happen until 2050. So to think that we're actually going to have any sort of ascension kind of thing in 2037. Um,
Mm.
okay, so where are you
Okay.
making this, and where are you going with this?
Well, this is actually that information was through the channeling with drones. And let me remember that we are the Earth, and the whole ascension, if we want to call it that, of the evolution of the humanity, and the 2012. It was the end of a cycle. Now, all the prophecies and all the that it was before wrote about the event of the 2012, it was a possibility of two things. Either we were not going to make it, or we were going to make it. Now, if we passed the 2012, a new game was going to come, which it had. And one of the things that Crying of Magnetic Service is telling us are in the old energy. We tend used to say, "Oh, we have seen this before. It's never going to work," or "We already know how the world is going." It is in the old energy. Now, past the 2012, we start a different cycle, and there's several cycles. This year, 2020, which is the year of exposure, and you could tell by 2020, it's normally the phrase or the numeral used by the good vision. We are going to be able to see more and be more aware. Now, always remember, everything that is given, it always is based on a high percentage of the possibility. Nothing is written in stone. Even though the Pleiadians placed the time capsules, it was going to be activated if we passed the 2012. Because the universe know, and especially we beings with duality, with free will, anything could happen. Nothing, Andrew, is placed in stone. You could have when normally with the channelers of the beings or anyone that is in contact with spirit will receive information regarding time, is always, if you look at it correctly, is always based on a percentage of probabilities. And if you listen to several of the YouTube videos when Brad Johnson is mentioning about it, or that Adronit is channeling, he mentioned about this probability, and it's a perspective of Adronit. Everybody have their own truth and their own perception of how they see the universe. So everything is true, and nothing is the holy truth, I would say. So that's my approach to that. When it comes to dates, I see it as a high percentage of probability, and it's like when you get a reading from an astrologer or a psychic or a tarot reader, they tap in into the quantum field, into the Akash of everything that is. Because remember, everything is happening now. Whatever happened before, what is happening now, and what is going to happen. But remember the Mandela effect, that some remember him being died in the cell and in jail, and others after. And you see movies, and I have seen myself videos or CDs that of movies that in one the same CD you put it on and it says one phrase, and then years after you put the same one that you use it and it's another phrase. That's what they call the Mandela effect. Why is that? Because it's based on anything could change from the future to the present. It could be modified, or the past, depending on our decision. That's why the decisions we make in life, it not only affect us, it could affect a lot of people, a lot of things. So my suggestion is always try to make the best decisions that you can, and be more honest and open and more loving and compassion. That is the most powerful thing, Andrew, the love and compassion. And maybe in another occasion, if you invite me again, I could refer to special occasions with of more direct contact, and and also talk about my hybrid children of the Yaya civilization. That's for another interview. It's very exciting. I've been working with them, and more all the parents that has hybrid children going to be more contact uh, w- um, from them. Or we'll have contact with them because precisely by the time of 2037, our human consciousness is going to be more prepared to receive um, the direct contact of start receiving more direct contact physical of the other beings of the universe.
Well, that's definitely a good sign. So thank you for pointing that out, and I do hope, well, the sooner the better. And well, Brian Johnson did say he's not the only one who some pyramid code guy said it, the pyramid marking of the pyramid code he's decoded. I'm drawing a blank on the guy's name, but he also suggests 2037, so it's not an isolated thing
Mhm.
with Brad Johnson.
Mhm.
But anyhow, you wanted to do a close out with a meditation, but I
Yes.
guess as soon as you're done the meditation, I will say good night, everybody, and then I'll end the interview there, and I guess hang up. But with that being said, I want to make sure before you do the meditation, get out anything you like, any contact info, any your businesses, any things you want to get out that you think the listeners and how they can reach you and all that too. That from a standpoint of you wanting to make a sales pitch, and now's your chance before you do the meditation.
Yes, but what we're gonna do, like we mentioned before, in that I will provide you the links of the different sources of the modalities that I have learned, and the Spirit Ambassador class. We're gonna post the link that if you are interested on taking the class and becoming a practitioner, if that's what you want, or just simply take the class to help you in your evolution process journey and do a lot of inner work, because for the harvest we're gonna need that inner work. And also, I will provide you that you could put in the link of that people could book uh, for the services that I provide. Besides the massage, all the services of quantum integrative therapy, tarot reading, also Akashic record readings, and more. I also will give you the information for Dr. David Pesek. If someone is interested in taking the class, becoming a holistic ideologist, and 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 so on. So I will give you the information so you can post it. And they always could send me the email to quantum integrity um, quantum integrity wellness at gmail.com. So, and I'll give you the information. So, whenever you're ready, we could then conclude the interview with this love and gratitude meditation. Let's take a deep breath in and out, and another deep breath in and out. And let's place our hands in our chest, in our heart, feeling ourselves of unconditional love that is coming from the universe, from spirit, from source. And let's be grateful for our creator, spirit. We are grateful, spirit, that you decide to create us as a unique human beings. We thank you and we love you. And we thank you for the love, the unconditional love you give us. And we all the beings that have come to this earth, to this planet, to raise the vibration and helping Gaia and helping us, the humans, to become and have more high vibration that help us to proceeding an evolution as a collective consciousness. We thank all those high consciousness planets are in our galaxy. We thank our solar system. We thank the sun that unconditionally He gave us life, He gave us light, He gave us all that good energy that help us in this evolution of the human consciousness. We are thankful. We are thankful for all the planets in our solar system. And we are thankful for all these beings that are coming and channeling through the different humans. We are thankful for Ryan. We are thankful for Adronis. We are thankful for Adidif and Trev and Bashar and Abraham. We love you. Thank you so much for coming and helping us. Thank you for the Pleiadians that have come and have placed this time capsule to help us in this awakening. We are so grateful. We thank Gaia, our Mother Earth. We love you, Gaia. We thank you so much for giving us your unconditional love. Even if we take care of you, or if we don't take care of you, you still give us food and water and air and oxygen and provide us with beauty in all your earth. We want to thank the inner earth civilization, the dolphins, and any civilization that has been working with Gaia, taking care of our mother and helping us and joining us in this very moment, especially since January. Hyadronis told us of that special contact window that all these beings are getting more closer to us so we could be having the help and the tools so we could be in this path on this journey of the evolution. We thank you, Athena, from the Delphi civilization, and we thank the Sasquatch and all those beings, the fairies, and everyone that is helping the humans and that is willing to work and collaborate with the humans in this time. Thank you for the unconditional love. And we thank our in high energy and thankful to Andrew Fisher to have host this interview and allow us to bring and share the light, the spirit light in our earth. Thank you so much. Remember, dear ones, you are loved and I love you. Spirit says. And so it is.
Thank you, Wendy. Good night, everybody. Namaste.
Namaste.